Your comfort zone isn't protecting you. It's slowly burying you alive. Every morning you wake up and add another shovel of dirt to your own grave. That routine you're so proud of. It's your coffin, those habits you can't break. They're your burial shroud. That stability you cling to, it's the soil that's suffocating your dreams. You're not living safely. You're dying comfortably. Every time you choose what's familiar over what's possible, every time you pick security over growth, every time you opt for certainty over opportunity, you're not protecting yourself, you're participating in your own spiritual funeral. We're all dying. Every single day, every single moment, parts of us are dying away. The old thoughts, the old beliefs, the old patterns that no longer serve us, they're desperately clinging to life while something new within us fights to be born. But here's what most people never realize. This death is beautiful. This death is necessary. This death is the doorway to your rebirth. Look at your hands right now. Really look at them. The skin you see isn't the same skin you had a month ago. Your body has already shed it, replaced it, renewed it. Your physical form understands something that your mind often resists. Growth demands that we let go of what we were to become what we can be. Some of you came here tonight carrying heavy burdens, relationships that drain your energy, jobs that crush your spirit, habits that chain you to mediocrity. And you're waiting for someone to save you, waiting for circumstances to change, waiting for the perfect moment to begin your transformation. That perfect moment is a lie. It's the most dangerous lie we tell ourselves. You see, we become masters at self-deception. We've crafted elaborate stories about why we can't change, why we're stuck, why we're not ready. I need more time, I need more money, I need more support. These aren't reasons, they're excuses wrapped in the language of logic. They're comfortable lies. We tell ourselves to avoid the uncomfortable truth. The power to transform has always been within us. Think about the last time you said, I can't. Now, be honest with yourself, but did you really mean I can't? Or did you mean I won't? Because there's a universe of difference between those two statements. I can't is a surrender to external circumstances. I won't is a choice. And choices, our choices, are the building blocks of our destiny. Your comfort zone is not your friend. It's a beautifully decorated prison cell that you've furnished with your fears and limitations. You've hung curtains of excuses on the windows and placed soft pillows of procrastination on the floor. It feels safe. It feels familiar. But it's slowly killing your potential, one comfortable day at a time. The universe has a peculiar sense of humor. It often sends us our greatest opportunities disguised as our worst days, that relationship that ended. It wasn't just a heartbreak. It was an invitation to rediscover who you are without the definitions others place upon you, the job you lost. It wasn't just a career setback. It was life clearing the path for something that aligns more closely with your true purpose. But here's where most people get it wrong. They wait for these moments of disruption to initiate change. They become reactive instead of proactive. They let life push them into transformation instead of choosing it for themselves. The truth is, you don't need a crisis to create change. You don't need to hit rock bottom to start climbing higher. The most powerful transformations begin with a simple decision. This is not who I am anymore, not tomorrow, not next week, not when the circumstances are perfect. Right now, in this moment, with whatever resources you have, wherever you are, however unprepared you might feel. Your brain will fight this decision. It's designed to maintain homeostasis, to keep things as they are. It will flood you with doubts, remind you of past failures, show you all the reasons why staying the same is safer than changing. This is normal. This is natural. This is also the first test of your commitment to transformation. Every great achievement in human history began with someone deciding to do something that their brain told them was impossible. Every innovation, every breakthrough, every leap forward started with someone saying no to their limitations and yes to their possibilities. The problem isn't that we don't know what to do. We know exactly what we need to do to change our lives. We need to eat better, move more, work harder, love deeper, give more generously, live more authentically. The problem is that we've trained ourselves to prioritize comfort over growth, security over possibility, the known over the unknown. But here's the beautiful truth. You are not your past. You are not your habits. You are not your failures or your successes. You are not what others have said about you. You are pure potential waiting to be expressed. You are a force of nature, temporarily domesticated by society's expectations and your own fears. The old you, the one who plays small, who makes excuses, who waits for permission, that version of you needs to die. Not gradually, not comfortably, but completely and purposefully. This isn't about minor adjustments or small improvement. This is about fundamental transformation. Think about a caterpillar entering its chrysalis. Inside that dark space, it doesn't just grow wings, it completely dissolves. Its entire being breaks down into a cellular soup before rebuilding itself into something entirely new. This is not a comfortable process. This is not a safe process, but it is a necessary process for becoming what it was always meant to be. Your chrysalis is not a physical space. It's a decision. It's the moment you choose to stop being who you've been and start becoming who you're capable of being. This decision must be total. You can't transform while keeping one foot in your old life. You can't become new while clinging to what's familiar. Right now, in this moment, you have everything you need to begin this transformation. You have breath in your lungs, thoughts in your mind, and the capacity to make different choices. These are your raw materials. These are your tools for rebuilding yourself. The question isn't whether you can change. The question is whether you're willing to endure the discomfort of transformation. Are you willing to feel lost before you find your new direction? Are you willing to feel weak before you develop new strength? Are you willing to feel foolish before you gain new wisdom? Because here's what nobody tells you about personal transforming. It's not just about adding new things to your life. It's about systematically eliminating everything that doesn't serve your evolution. It's about becoming comfortable with empty spaces before filling them with something better. It's about learning to sit with the discomfort of becoming. The most dangerous prison is the one you don't realize you're in. For many of us, that prison is our own mind, built brick by brick with limiting beliefs, reinforced daily with self-doubt, and guarded by our own fears. Breaking free requires more than just positive thinking. It demands a complete demolition of everything you thought you knew about yourself. Let's talk about pain for a moment. Not the physical kind that comes from injury, but the deep, soul-level pain that comes from living beneath your potential. Most people spend their entire lives running from this pain. They numb it with distractions, cover it with busy schedules, or drown it in various forms of escape. But what if pain isn't your enemy? What if it's the compass pointing toward your true north? Every time you feel that deep dissatisfaction with your life, every time you lie awake at night knowing you're capable of more, every time you feel that gnawing emptiness, that's not pain to be avoided. That's your soul screaming for growth. That's your higher self refusing to settle for mediocrity. That's your future self trying to pull you toward greatness. The problem is that we've been conditioned to seek comfort above all else. We've been taught that if something feels uncomfortable, it must be wrong. But growth and comfort cannot coexist. Every meaningful change, every significant transformation requires it requires doing things that scare you, saying things that might make others uncomfortable, making decisions that go against the grain of your conditioning. Think about the person you were 5 years ago. Are you significantly different today? If not, you've been surviving, not evolving. You've been existing, not living. You've been maintaining, not growing. And maintaining what isn't working is a slow form of spiritual suicide. The universe has an interesting way of pushing us toward growth. First, it whispers. If we don't listen, it speaks. If we still don't listen, it shouts. And if we continue to ignore it, it smacks us with a crisis that forces us to change. Why wait for this crisis? Why not choose transformation before it's forced upon you? Here's a truth that might be hard to swallow. Nobody's coming to save you. No one is going to hand you the life you want on a silver platter. No one is going to reach down from the heavens and lift you out of your current circumstances. The cavalry isn't coming. You are the cavalry. You are the hero of your own story. You are the one you've been waiting for. This moment, right now, is your point of power. Not yesterday with its mistakes and regrets. Not tomorrow with its fears and uncertainties. Right now. In this moment, you have the power to make a decision that will alter the entire trajectory of your life. But you must make it with total commitment, not partial consideration. Most people live their lives like they're test driving it. They dabble, they experiment, they try things out, but they never fully commit. They keep one foot in their old life while tentatively stepping toward a new one. This half-hearted approach to transformation is why most people fail to create lasting change. Real transformation requires burning the bridges to your old life. Not literally, but emotionally and psychologically. It requires making decisions that eliminate the possibility of retreat. It requires burning your boats on the shore so that moving forward is your only... This isn't about being reckless. This is about being resolute. This is about making a decision so powerful that it eliminates all other options. This is about becoming someone who doesn't recognize the word impossible as anything more than a dare. Your old self will fight this transformation with everything it has. It will remind you of past failures. It will show you all the reasons why you should stay the same. It will bring up every doubt, every fear, every insecurity you ever had. This resistance isn't a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's proof that you're doing something right. Change happens in an instant. It's not a gradual process. The actual moment of transformation is as quick as flipping a switch. What takes time is the preparation for that moment and the integration that follows. But the decision to change, that happens in an instant. Think about water heating up to a boil. For a long time, nothing seems to happen. The temperature rises degree by degree with no visible change. Then at exactly 212 degrees Fahrenheit, everything transforms. The water doesn't gradually begin to boil. It transforms in an instant from one state to another. Your transformation works the same way. You might feel like nothing is happening as you prepare for change. You might feel like you're not making progress. But every small step, every tiny decision, every moment of choosing differently is raising your temperature. And when you reach your boiling point, that moment of total commitment, transformation happens in an instant. The key is to stop waiting for inspiration to strike. Inspiration is not a prerequisite for action. It's a result of action. The people who wait to feel inspired before they act will spend their entire lives waiting. The people who act despite not feeling inspired are the ones who create lasting change. Your brain will try to convince you that you need more information, more preparation, more resources before you can begin. This is a lie. You have everything you need right now to take the first step. And the first step is all you need to focus on. You don't need to see the entire staircase to take the first step. Most people overestimate what they can achieve in a day and underestimate what they can achieve in a year. They get discouraged when massive action doesn't produce immediate results. But transformation isn't about immediate results. It's about consistent, committed action over time. Think about who you want to become. Not what you want to have or what you want to achieve, but who you want to be. What qualities would that person embody? What decisions would that person make? What standards would that person hold themselves to? Now here's the key. Start being that person right now. Don't wait until you have the results to embody the identity. Embody the identity to create the results. The old you must die for the new you to be born. This death isn't physical. It's the death of old patterns, old beliefs, old ways of being. It's the death of limitations, excuses, and self-imposed boundaries. It's the death of everything that's been holding you back from becoming who you're truly meant to be. Every morning when you wake up, you have a choice. You can continue being the person you've always been, doing the things you've always done, getting the results you've always gotten, or you can choose to be someone new. This choice isn't made once, so it's made moment by moment, decision by decision, action by action. The greatest obstacle to transformation isn't external circumstances. It's internal resistance. Your mind has created elaborate defense mechanisms to keep you safely within your comfort zone. It will present you with perfectly logical reasons why now isn't the right time, why you should wait, why you should play it safe. But safety and growth are mutually exclusive. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. Every goal, every dream, every aspiration exists beyond the boundaries of your comfort zone. The life you dream of living requires you to become someone you've never been. And becoming someone you've never been requires doing things you've never done. Most people live their lives in reaction mode. They react to circumstances, to other people's expectations, to their own conditioning. They let life happen to them instead of happening to life. But transformation requires switching from reaction to creation mode. It requires deciding who you want to become and then systematically eliminating everything that doesn't align with that vision. Your habits are not who you are. They're who you've practiced being. Every habit, every pattern, every automatic response you have was learned, and anything that was learned can be unlearned. But here's the catch. You can't unlearn something by focusing on what you don't want. You must focus on what you do want and practice that with relentless consistency. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your standards. Most people have high hopes but low standards. They hope for better relationships while accepting toxic ones. They hope for better health while maintaining poor habits. They hope for financial abundance while tolerating scarcity. Hope without standards is like a ship without a rudder. It might move, but it has no direction. Let's talk about responsibility. Not the kind that feels like a burden, but the kind that feels like power. Taking absolute responsibility for your life means acknowledging that you are the author of your story. Every chapter, every plot twist, every character in your life is there because of choices you've made, consciously or unconsciously. This level of responsibility can feel overwhelming at first. It means admitting that no one else is to blame for where you are in life. It means accepting that every relationship, every circumstance, every result in your life is a reflection of choices you've made and standards you've set. But with this responsibility comes incredible power. The power to write a new story. The old you was created by default, by accepting other people's definitions, by conforming to expectations, by choosing the path of least resistance. The new you must be created by design, by consciously choosing your values, by setting your own standards, by crafting your own destiny. This transformation requires courage. Not the kind of courage that roars, but the kind that whispers, "I will try again tomorrow." The courage to face yourself honestly. The courage to admit where you've been settling. The courage to choose growth over comfort, possibility over security, authenticity over acceptance. Your transformation will make others uncomfortable. When you begin to change, you disturb the system around you. People who are comfortable with the old you may resist the new you. They may try to pull you back to who you were. Remember this, their resistance is about them, not you. It's about their fear of change, their comfort with the status quo, their unwillingness to examine their own lives. The path of transformation is often a solitary one, not because you have to walk it alone, but because no one else can walk it for you. Others can support you, encourage you, believe in you, but they cannot transform you. That power lies solely in your hands. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you strengthen your transformation muscle. Every time you face a fear instead of avoiding it, you expand your capacity for courage. Every time you maintain your standards instead of lowering them, you reinforce your commitment to excellence. But here's what most people don't understand about transformation. It's not about becoming someone different. It's about becoming more fully yourself. It's about stripping away everything that isn't truly you, the social conditioning, the limiting beliefs, the false identities you've adopted to please others. The process of transformation often feels like loss before it feels like gain. You must be willing to lose who you've been to become who you're meant to be. You must be willing to lose relationships that don't serve your growth. You must be willing to lose habits that don't align with your vision. You must be willing to lose beliefs that limit your potential. Your comfort zone will fight to keep you small. It will present you with every reason why change is dangerous, why staying the same is safer, why maintaining the status quo is wiser. But comfort zones are not created by wisdom. They're created by fear. Think about the dreams you've abandoned because they seem too difficult, too risky, too unlikely. Those abandoned dreams are not dead. They're dormant, waiting for you to find the courage to pursue them again. But this time, pursue them not from a place of wanting or needing, but from a place of becoming. The difference between who you are and who you want to be is what you do. Not what you plan to do, not what you intend to do, not what you hope to do, what you actually do. Every action you take is either moving you toward or away from your vision of who you want to become. Your transformation requires a death of sorts. The death of excuses, the death of procrastination, the death of self-doubt. But this death creates space for something new to be born: conviction, action, self-trust. The old must die for the new to be born. This is the law of transformation. The pain of staying the same will eventually exceed the pain of change. You can choose to change now consciously and purposefully, or you can wait until life forces change upon you. But change is inevitable. Growth is optional. The question isn't whether you'll change. You will. The question is whether you'll change by design or by default. Whether you'll be the architect of your transformation or the victim of circumstance. Whether you'll choose your future or accept whatever comes your way. Every action you take, every word you speak, every thought you entertain is either feeding your old self or nourishing your new self. There is no neutral ground in transformation. You're either growing or you're dying, advancing or retreating, building or destroying. Look at your life right now. Look at your relationships, your health, your work, your daily habits. Everything you see is a result of choices you've made and standards you've accepted. If you don't like what you see, remember this: you are not a tree. You're not rooted to one spot. You have the power to change everything about your life by changing the choices you make and the standards you accept. The most dangerous lie we tell ourselves is, I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow is a concept, not a reality. Tomorrow is where dreams go to die, where potential goes to waste, where transformation goes to sleep. The only moment you have any power over is this one right now. And in this moment, you can make a decision that will alter the entire course of your life. Your transformation requires more than just positive thinking. It requires positive doing. It requires taking actions that align with who you want to become, even when those actions feel uncomfortable, even when you don't see immediate results, even when everyone around you thinks you're crazy. Most people live their lives on autopilot, letting their habits run their lives, letting their past determine their future, letting their fears make their decisions. But transformation requires switching off autopilot. It requires conscious choice. It requires intentional living. It requires deciding moment by moment who you want to be and what you want your life to represent. The greatest gift you can give yourself is permission to change. Permission to outgrow relationships that no longer serve you. Permission to abandon goals that no longer inspire you. Permission to become someone different than who you've been. Permission to disappoint people who want you to stay the same. Your transformation will require sacrifice. You'll have to sacrifice comfort for growth, certainty for possibility, the known for the unknown. But here's what most people don't understand about sacrifice. It's not about giving up something for nothing. It's about giving up something good for something better. The path of transformation is not linear. It's not a straight line from who you are to who you want to be. It's a spiral where you often revisit old territories, but at a higher level. You'll face similar challenges, but with greater wisdom. You'll encounter similar fears, but with stronger courage. Every time you choose growth over comfort, every time you choose possibility over security, every time you choose authenticity over acceptance, you're building momentum. This momentum, once built, becomes a force that propels you forward even when you're motivated. Your transformation isn't just about you. As you transform, you give others permission to transform. As you grow, you create space for others to grow. As you become more fully yourself, you inspire others to become more fully themselves. Your personal transformation has a ripple effect that extends far beyond your own life. The key to sustainable transformation is identity. Not just changing what you do, but changing who you believe yourself to be. When your actions align with your identity, change becomes natural rather than forced. It becomes who you are rather than what you do. Most people try to change their lives by focusing on their actions. But lasting transformation happens when you focus on your identity. Instead of saying, I want to lose weight, say, I am becoming someone who takes care of their body. Instead of saying, I want to make more money, say, I am becoming someone who creates value. Your old self will try to sabotage your transformation. It will create drama to distract you, problems to overwhelm you, excuses to stop you. This resistance isn't a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's evidence that you're doing something right. The old must die for the new to be born. The process of transformation often feels like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But even this backward step is part of the process. It's not a failure, it's feedback. It's not a setback, it's set up for a comeback. Every obstacle, every challenge, every seeming failure is actually serving your transformation. Your transformation requires patience, not the passive patience of waiting, but the active patience of persistent action. It requires trust, not in external circumstances, but in your own capacity to grow. It requires courage, not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act despite fear. The quality of your transformation depends on the quality of your questions. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this teaching me? Instead of asking, when will things get easier? Ask, how am I getting stronger? Instead of asking, what if I fail? Ask, what if I succeed? The person you want to become is already within you. Your transformation isn't about creating something new. It's about unveiling what's already there. It's about removing the layers of fear, doubt, and limiting beliefs that hide your true potential. As we conclude this journey together, understand that this is not the end. It's just the beginning. The words you've heard today are seeds. Whether they grow into mighty trees or remain dormant seeds depends entirely on what you do with them. The time for transformation is not tomorrow, not next week, not when conditions are perfect. The time is now, in this moment. With whatever resources you have, wherever you are, however unprepared you might feel, your transformation begins with a decision. A decision to stop being who you've been and start becoming who you're meant to be. A decision to stop accepting what life gives you and start creating what you want. A decision to stop waiting for change and start being the change. The old you has served its purpose. It's brought you to this moment. But just as a rocket must release its lower stages to reach higher altitudes, you must release who you've been to become who you're meant to be. Today marks the death of your old self and the birth of your new self. Today is the day you stop waiting and start becoming. Today is the day your transformation begins. The choice is yours. The time is now. The power is within you. Rise up, step forward, transform. Your new life is waiting.